నేను అన్న బట్టి 5 మినిట్స్ డిలే చేస్తాను. మీరు అన్నట్టు 5 మినిట్స్ డిలే చేస్తాను. 5 మినిట్స్ ఓకేనా అండి? ఏం లేదు, నాకు 6 పాయింట్స్ నేను జనరల్గా ఇనిషియల్ ఆఫర్ ఇస్తాను. 6 మీకు వచ్చేటప్పుడు మీరు ముసుంటే ఓకే సార్. థ్యాంక్ యూ సార్. నాకు అంతే అంతే సార్, అంతే. అది ఫోన్ లో చదవాలంటున్నారా? అవును సార్. చూడండి, కొత్తగా వస్తే కొంచెం చదవండి, లేకపోతే పాతది ఏ మామూలు పంపించకపోతే పాత చదవండి. బాబు ముందు ఇమీడియట్ గా అది ప్రొఫైల్ వర్క్ చేయమని అది పంపించేసే, పంపించే లోపల రావు. అప్పుడు ఆ ప్రోగ్రామ్ షీట్ తీసుకురావాలి శ్రీనివాస్. పంపించారా? పని చేయి, ప్రోగ్రామ్ షీటు అది కూడా తీసుకొచ్చి ప్రొఫైల్ కూడా నాకు తీసుకొచ్చి ఓకేనా? ఆ పొరపాటు ఆయన ఇంటర్నెట్ ఏం లేకపోయినా నేను చదువుతాను. ప్రింట్ తీసి ప్రోగ్రామ్ షీట్ కూడా ప్రింట్ తీసుకోవాలి. అది మర్చిపోయానండి. తర్వాత తర్వాత తీసి ఒకటి తీసి తర్వాత నేను పొద్దున ఎప్పుడైనా తుడిచే టైం 10 లేకపోతే తుడిచే. బుర్రా వెంకటేశ్వర స్వామి దివాళి వెంకటేశ్వర వచ్చిన తర్వాత టచ్ పోయింది నాకు. ఇదిగో. 26 పెట్టు, 27 పెట్టు. ఆయన మరి 30 పెడతారు. 22 వద్దు, 26, 27 పెట్టు. 27 7. ఆయన ఇంకొకటి 27 చెప్పు. 30కి వెళ్ళిపోతే మరి 27 ఓకే. ఇంక ఫ్యాన్ వచ్చి కొంచెం ఈసీ రావాలి కదా, ఇంకా నీకు ఛార్జర్ పడుతుంది, ఇంకా 15 నిమిషాలు పడుతుంది. తర్వాత ఆఫ్ చేస్తాను, ఇది చల్లగా అయిన తర్వాత ఆఫ్ చేస్తాను. అంతే 800 అయిందా నీకు కూడా? ఇంత పెద్ద చేస్తావా? ఎందుకు ఇంత పెద్దది ఎందుకు? చాలా మంది బాగుంది అంటున్నారు ఫోటోని. రాముల వారి ఫోటో కూడా ఒకటి చేయించాలి. చెప్తా రేపు, అంటే ఆయన ఒక్కరిది చేద్దామా, లేకపోతే రామ లక్ష్మణ హనుమ సీతది 4 చేయించాలా చూద్దాం. చెప్తా, ఆయన ఒక్కటి ఇట్లా ఇంటూ విరబోసుకొని ఇట్లా ఉంటాయి కదా, అట్లా పోదామా. ఏం బాబు, ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఈ లేటెస్ట్ ప్రొఫైల్ అనేది ఇంకేం కావాలి? రెడీ ఉంది, జనగణమన రెడీ ఉంది. సరే నువ్వు వచ్చి ఇక్కడ కూర్చోవాలి, స్క్రీన్ షేర్ అయిన తర్వాత బయటకు వెళ్ళాలి. తర్వాత మళ్ళీ అయిపోయే ముందు నేను వినిపిస్తాను నీకు, చెప్తా ఇక్కడి నుంచి బయటకు వచ్చి చెప్తా. వచ్చి ఇక్కడ కూర్చోవాలి, క్లోజ్ చేసి జనగణమన పెట్టాలి. అరే అక్కడ పెడితే లేట్ అవుతున్నది, 40 సెకండ్ 50 సెకండ్. స్పీకర్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్. గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్. వినిపిస్తుందా సార్ వాయిస్?
చెప్పండి. ఈవినింగ్, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ అండి. రాజుగారికి కూడా పెట్టారు. రాజుగారు నేను అటే వస్తాను, రేపు వస్తాను.
వినిపిస్తుందా సార్? యూ కెన్ హియర్ మీ నా?
ఏంటండి?
వినిపిస్తుందా సార్?
వినిపిస్తాం సార్, వినిపిస్తాం.
ఓకే ఓకే.
నేను అటు వస్తాను, మీ పక్కకు వస్తాను. ఈ కుర్చీ ఇక్కడ వేసుకుంటారా సార్? కుర్చీ ఇక్కడ వేసి ఇక్కడ వేసి.
పద అయిపోయినాక పిలుస్తుంది. అమ్మ ఏం లేదు తినాలి. ఓ మిల్ల పదం
పర్వాలేదు. కూర్చో కూర్చో, కుర్చీ తీసుకొని కూర్చో. పర్లేదు, ఏం పర్లేదు, కూర్చో.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్ సార్.
గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్, గుడ్ ఈవినింగ్. నువ్వు కూడా ఒకటి ఆన్ చేసి పెట్టుకోరా నాన్న. నీకు తీసుకురా సెల్ ఫోన్. ఛార్జింగ్ ఉంది కదా? వెంకటరావు ఇక్కడ వెంకట సుబ్బయ్య గారు
హలో సార్.
వెంకట సుబ్బయ్య ఏం లేదు, ఒక్క 5 minutes వెయిట్ చేద్దాం సార్.
అవునా, అదే డ్రైవింగ్ లో ఉన్నా, మధ్యలో ఆపాను కారు.
అచ్చా,
ఓకే
మీరు
సార్.
మీరు ఎంత దూరం ఉంది? ఇల్లు ఎంత దూరం ఉంది మీకు?
సార్
ఇల్లు ఎంత దూరంలో ఉంది మీకు?
ఒక 15 minutes పడుతుంది సార్.
వద్దులేండి, అయితే 5 minutes లో మనం స్టార్ట్ చేసేద్దాం. ఏం లేదు, ఒక 5 minutes లో స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం.
ఓకే.
రైట్ సార్.
సార్ స్టార్ట్ చేద్దామా?
చేసేయమంటారా?
సార్
ఓకే సార్, స్టార్ట్ చేసింది.
ఓకే సార్.
Sir, good evening, sir. Good evening, sir, one and all. Today we are
Good evening, sir.
we're going to have the webinar on glacier preservation. This is on the eve of the World Water Day, which was supposed to be conducted on 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, but because of some issue, we wanted actually to conduct this on 27th. Because of the committee meeting, again it got postponed because of 4 holidays. Now today we are conducting this webinar. I thank Ayeshan Rajagaru, the council member on the past chairman of Institute of Engineers India. He has agreed to be consented and agreed to be the keynote speaker on this day, sir. And I request G. Venkat Subbiah Garu, chairman, and the convener, chairman of Institute of Engineers Telangana State Center, and G. Varun Kumar, committee member and convener of the event, for having made the efforts to ensure that this Water Day event is not missed out of our calendar. And with this, I request Venkat Subbiah and also acknowledge some of the prominent figures who are present here. The Dantam Chandrasekhar Garu, Karnakar Reddy Garu, Srinivas Garu, Mohammad Hussain Garu, and Ramanujachari Garu, and S.N. Rao Garu also. Now I request the chairman of the Institute of Engineers Telangana State Center, G. Venkat Subbiah Garu, to preside out the meeting, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Dr. K. Sitaram Babu Garu. So, respected keynote speaker, Dr. ISN Raju, FIE, council member and chairman RDC, Institution of Engineers India. Dr. K. Sitaram Babu, FIE, honorary secretary, IA Telangana State Center. Engineer G. Varun Kumar, MIE, committee member, IA Telangana State Center and convener of today's event. Dr. S. Nagbhushan Rao, past vice president, IEI. Professor Ramanujacharyalu, Dr. Mohammad Hussain, D. Chandrasekhar Garu, Karnakar Garu, and other participants, corporate members of IEI, ladies and gentlemen. Today I feel it is a great privilege and honor to be amidst this august gathering and extend a warm and hearty welcome to the keynote speaker and all of you for this World Water Day. Today, I am very happy to be associated with this memorable event and wish to inform that the Institution of Engineers India Telangana State Center is organizing World Water Day on the theme Glacier Preservation. Today, that is 2nd April 2025. Actually, it was supposed to be conducted on 22nd March, but it is postponed due to the council meeting held at Ahmedabad. So World Water Day is observed on 22nd March every year by the United Nations. The theme for the year 2025 is Glacier Preservation, emphasizing the critical role glaciers play in sustaining the global water supply. Glaciers are melting rapidly, disrupting water flows and affecting millions through floods, droughts, and rising sea levels. Mitigation, climate change, and adapting to the loss of glaciers is essential to protect communities and ecosystems. The theme emphasizes the need for global action to manage meltwater sustainability and reduce emissions, securing vital water resources for the future. The theme highlights the essential role of glaciers that play in providing fresh water to millions of people. Glaciers store roughly 70% of the world's fresh water, serving as critical sources for drinking water, agriculture, and hydropower. However, the rapid retreat of glaciers driven by climate change threatens these vital resources. The theme urges global action to protect glaciers, which are not only crucial for water supply but also for sustaining the ecosystems depending on, on glacial melt water. Efforts to preserve glaciers require a multifaceted approach, including reducing greenhouse gas emissions, promoting sustainable energy, and implementing policies aimed at conserving these natural resources. Technological advancements such as satellite monitoring and climate models are essential in assessing glacier health and predicting future changes. Conservation initiatives in glacier-rich regions are also vital in mitigating human impact and ensuring the continued flow of glaciers water. By prioritizing glacier preservation, we secure vital fresh water, protect biodiversity, and enhance the resilience of vulnerable communities against climate change. So, on behalf of the Telangana State Center of IEI and on my own behalf, I once again extend a hearty welcome to keynote speaker Dr. ISN Razu, FIE Council Member and Chairman R&D Committee IEI, and all of you to this important event. I am sure you will enjoy and learn the importance of water from the mouth of expert on water issues, Dr. ISN Razu, FIE. Thank you, one and all. Before I invite Dr. ISN Razu, FIE, for his response, I request Engineer G. Varun, MIE committee member and convener of the event, to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. ISN Razu garu.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir. Respected President Dr. G. Venkat Subbaya garu, Chairman IE Telangana State Center, Honorable Secretary Dr. K. Sitaram Babu garu, and today's keynote speaker, Dr. ISN Raju garu, Council Member and Chairman RDC IEI. Also past Chairman and also the Chief Guest, also committee members, and all the engineers. Good evening, everybody. On behalf of Institute of Engineers, I welcome you all to this special event, recognition of World Water Day 2025. As an environmental member, I'm honored to be a part of this crucial conversation about our most precious resource called water. As we all know, water is one of the most important resources of cycle. Yet, its availability and the quality are increasingly threatened by the climate changes, population growth, and unsustainable usage. Recognizing the need of the water and also addressing these challenges, United Nations are designated as a March 23rd as a World Water Day. As we celebrate this significant day by bringing the experts, policy makers, researchers, and also the students to discuss about the crucial issues related to...
Varun, introduce our
yes,
keynote
sir.
speaker. Already I told about that. No?
Yeah, now I would like to introduce Dr. ISN Raju garu, who is the keynote speaker for today's event. So, Dr. Indupuri Satyanarayana Raju garu is well known as ISN Raju. Garu had born on 28 Feb 1955 to a late Sri Rajam Raju and Srimati Ramasita in Hanchumura village, Attali Mandal of West Godavari district, AP, in the lower middle class agriculture family. He obtained degree in civil engineer and post-graduation with distinction from JNTU Hyderabad. He joined as an assistant executive engineer in irrigation department of AP in 1976 and later was selected as a DE by direct recruitment in 1982. He was promoted as an executive engineer in the year 1991, served in Vijayanagaram district and deputy chief engineer, medium irrigation till his elevation as superintendent engineering during the year 1997. He served as a deputy secretary in AP Secretariat and later as a project administrator for Vamsadaraka project in Srikakulam district. At the time of water crisis to Krishna Delta, redundant service as a superintendent engineer irrigation circle Vijayawada during 2002 to 2004 and received appreciation from government and public for tiding over the water crisis of Krishna Delta. Mr. Rajgaru was promoted as chief engineer to head a most prestigious central designs organization for over 6 years, till superintendent in June 2011. He is presently honorary advisor and BOG member of Raghu Engineering College, Beamley at Vizag district. Academic Council member of MVRG Engineering College, Vijayanagaram, and BOS member of JBIET College, Hyderabad. Out of academic interest, passion, and zeal, Dr. ISN Rajgaru acquired higher education qualification while he was in services. He acquired BL, MBA, MPhil, and PG diploma in alternate dispute resolution at Nalsar, and he was awarded PhD by JNTU University, Hyderabad for the research during 2008 and 2013 on competency mapping of irrigation department of AP. Dr. Rajgaru published a book on water and irrigation under aegis of Institute of Engineers India, APSC Hyderabad, and volume 2 of same title in soft version released during All India IEE seminar at Ranchi during January 2022. While in his service of INCAD Department of United AP, he received a Best Irrigation Engineering Award in the year 2003, instituted by IE and Government of AP, Best Nodal Officer at State Level, honored by Chief Minister of Governor of AP during 1996, and many other merits awards while working in Srikakulam, Vijayanagaram, and Krishna district. On the occasion of Independence Day and Republic Day ceremonies, he presented over 50 technical papers on various platforms during national and international seminars of Institute of Engineers. He was responsible for approval of all the designs and drawings of major, medium, and minor irrigation projects in AP during 2004 and 2011 in the capacity of Chief Engineer, Central Designing Organization, and resolved many dam safety related and other important technical issues of commenced as well as ongoing projects in AP. During Krishna floods of 2009, Dr. Rajgaru was appointed as a special officer by the government to monitor the Krishna floods at Srisailam and Prakasam barrage and contributed his mighty in averting losses of life and minimizing damages for dams and assets. Presently, Rajgaru is a BOG member of Raghu Engineering College at Beamley of Visakhapatnam district, member Academic Council of MVRG College of Engineering, Vijayanagaram, and member Board of Student Civil JBIET Hyderabad. Earlier, he served as a technical consultant to NABARD in AP and Telangana during 2018 and 2024 March. Dr. ISN Rajgaru is associated with IEE, Institute of Engineers, since the year 1983. He was a past chairman of IEE, APSC Hyderabad, and that of Telangana State Center too. Dr. ISN Rajgaru is presently elected as a National Council member for second tenure, that is 2021 to 2025, and member representing of some important IEE national committees and fora. Dr. Rajgaru is an empaneled arbitrator and freelancer technical consultant. Sir, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for giving me this opportunity to introduce you and to read your biodata and also to introduce as a keynote speaker. Thanks a lot, sir. Now I would like the keynote speaker, Dr. ISN Rajgaru, to please address this webinar. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Good evening to everybody. Respected presiding officer of today's event, Dr. Venkata Subbaya Garu, Chairman, Telangana State Center, and Honorary Secretary, Sitaram Garu, and convener of this event, Varuna Kumar, our committee member, and dignitaries and allied people, S.N. Rao Garu, our National Vice President of IEI, Ramanujacharya Garu, Rajeshwar Rao Garu, and Dr. Hussain, and many other important persons on this event. So I feel it a privilege to be speaker of on this very auspicious occasion, that is World Water Day. Of course, it was already concluded on 23rd March, but because of some other programs and some other classes also, normally today the program was actually, it was decided to have it, and I was asked to give a presentation. And of course, across the country today also some Jalandhar local center also they are conducting, because sometimes so on that day, if some other hurdles are there, it will be done within a week of that one. So today we are conducting this event. So you all know that World Water Day is very, very important, and every year a theme will be stipulated for each year, mainly on importance and how to augment the water sources and how made it available to this one. And so I'm welcoming you. So always the world will be always need to be green earth and with the blue water. Then only everything will happen. And welcome you all. So when we remove it. About World Water Day, of course, in extempo our chairman has also spoken, but when a presentation is given, it go in a systematic way of about dealing with all the events and about background of World Water Day. Of course, it is a United Nations Observation Day that every year on 22nd March to highlight the importance of fresh water. Actually, everybody thinks that water is abundant, but we all know that about 95% of water is saline water. Only fresh water is resting is hardly about glaciers and other things locked up in ice and all those things. Only about 1% of fresh water is available to serve this entire globe. So this day is the purpose of this day is to advocate for the sustainable management of fresh water. Of course, when you talk about sustainable management, sustainable development goals also will come into picture. Actually, the United Nations want to make this theme, that is sustainable development goal number 6, that is meant for water and sanitation, to highlight that one. So any theme that is given on every year that revolves around that sustainable goal number 6 about water and sanitation also there. So this day was first formally proposed in Agenda 21 of 1992 United Nations Conference on Environment and Development in Rio de Janeiro. So in December 1992, United Nations General Assembly has adopted the resolution by which 22nd March of each year is declared as a World Day for Water. So of course, the first World Water Day was observed in the 1993. So the purpose, the World Water Day celebrations intend to inspire people around the world to learn more about water-related issues and to take action to make a difference. That means they make a difference in a positive way, because ultimately every citizen of this globe need to have equal share on water and good sanitation. So there is a UN Water. I think you all know that peripheral bodies are there in United Nations for every important interventions. There will be one body will be there. So UN Water is the convener for the World Water Day and selects a theme for the each year in consultation with the UN organizations that share an interest in that year's focus. Of course, today this year theme, that is 2025, is glacier preservation. That is very important, and how to explores how to preserve it. Because today, if you have seen Hindu paper, that is about the editorial is there. So one important thing is the United States of America is very much eager to take over this island, that green island. Green island is the midst of the that Atlantic. The glacier is there. So that is so important. The importance there. So their worry is that at one point of time, the glaciers will melt, and that will pave way to access to the Arctic, that is subcontinent, where a lot of minerals are there. So now about 5 countries, and also that actually presently it is in Denmark. Now earlier the United Nations have supported that island with a lot of funding and all those things. They want to take back that island. Now there is a rift between Denmark and that US about this island. So the importance is because that is a glacier, entire architect is there. So that is to have an access this Greenland is important. So that is so that means the entire globe is forecasting that at one point of time the glacier will melt and it will lead to a lot of other diversifications and adversities also there and positive things are also there. So now I think save our glaciers, that is that World Water Day, that is glacier save water means retaining whatever glacier, the towers are there, you need to retain it. Otherwise, if they melt, automatically it will deplete. So when you are talking about glacier preservation, you need to know about what exactly are glaciers. Of course, in general terms, we know that glaciers are a sheet of mountains. So that is the Himalayas, the snow mountains are there. Of course, actually the glaciers are massive slow-moving bodies of ice that form on land. Ultimately, they form on land. Glaciers are made of compacted snow, rock, sediment, and sometimes liquid water, and glaciers move downhill due to gravity. So that means when a temperature, there is a difference of temperature and rising temperature are there. So glacier solids, they will start melting and also it will form into flow. And actually, you can say that it is the flow of river. Actually, glaciers will be flow of river. So glacier is a large perennial accumulation of crystalline ice, snow, rock, sediment, and often liquid water that originates on land and moves down slope under the influence of its own weight and gravity. Ultimately, all these North Indian rivers, for example, that is very, very important that we say that North Indian rivers are perennial, like Ganga and Brahmaputra. So the rivers have become perennial because in summer, so the snow is get melted, the melting will be there, and that will convert into a flow of liquid, and ultimately it flows that everything else. Another important thing is the glaciers are so important that almost 2 billion people, the glaciers, the form of glaciers ultimately giving water in the fluid, in the liquid form is taking care of about 2 billion people across the globe, and 20% of global requirement is taking care of these glaciers. That's why every need that we need to preserve the glaciers. I think it's a reasonable melting. I think I say that we cannot stop melting, but summer any temperature is there. And I would like to tell you that two important things, that is Sustainable Development Goals 6 and also the other important thing is the goal is about the global warming. Those two are very important when you are discussing about glaciers. Also in the presentation, also I give some importance to these two items also. So they are the slow-moving rivers. Glaciers are nothing but slow-moving rivers. Ultimately, they will all the rivers Ganga and Brahmaputra. In summer, they are all nothing but the slow-moving river of this ice only. And the mountains, actually, the glaciers are slow-moving rivers of ice have sculpted mountains and carved valleys throughout the Earth's history and continue to shape the landscape in. So when glaciers melt, flow, and the water is stored on land and runoff significantly increases the amount of water into the ultimately. So the water will flow into the sea. I think what I told you that 95% of this globe is so fill of these nothing but salt water is there. That is the sea subcomponents are there. So ultimately, when glaciers are melt, there is a danger that there will be rising sea level. So somebody is asking, I think we can see, everybody knows that even there will be sea ice will be also there and also glaciers also there. There is a lot of difference between sea ice and glacier that also we'll discuss. So this one picture you can see when the process of melting, how the glaciers are looking like. They are the lifelines of summer seasonal flows towards the perennial river system, especially it is evident, and also it is sustaining environment also. So actually, that the rise in global temperature will be being controlled by these glaciers also. So about the theme, actually, the United Nations World Water Development Report, every year they release that report. So that release every year around World Water Day. On the day of World Water Day only the report will be released. So the first report was, it was already, I told you that it was the first, the World Water Day was celebrated in 1993 that focused on fresh water. I think any theme or sub-theme will be revolving about the fresh water, about the challenges we are facing from on day-to-day issues also there. And I told you that the four focus of World Water Day is to support the achievement of sustainable goal number 7. You all know about 17 goals are there. Goal number 7 is very important. It will circumvent, it will revolve around water and sanitation for all by 2030. That means, so that equity, every citizen got a right to have a proper drinking water, potable drinking water, and also facility of sanitation. sanitation is linked with water. So that is, if good water, available water facility is there, then only there will be health sanitation and the health of the people will be good. So the theme of World Water Day 2025 is glacier preservation, emphasizing the critical role of glaciers in sustaining the life and water cycle and highlighting the challenges posed by their melting. You all know that the water cycle is also there. So everybody thinks that water is abundant, but actually the precipitation is the world water yield is due to precipitation. That precipitation will be only hardly about 90 days in a year, but water requirement is there for 265 days. That means whenever whatever that yield that is there runoff that will be there, we need to get it stored in water bodies. Then we may call the minor irrigation tanks as a water body, small water body, and we build dams across the rivers, and we'll have a medium irrigation dams and reservoirs will be there. So whatever water we are getting during the rain season, we'll store it there. Apart from that, glaciers also one type of storage. So of course, in the liquid form, all the reservoirs will be there, and the glacier reservoir is the form of the solid form, and ultimately it will also give fetching the water. By end of 2025, of course, by year end, everybody, 2/3 of world population may face water shortage, and ecosystem around the world will be suffer even more. Here, I would like to tell you. So actually, per capita is always the case where we can say that whether the water scarcity is there, water stress is there, because at the time of independence, hardly our population of India is order of about 33 crores. Now, the present population is nearly 140 crores will be there. So when come to per capita, in the year 1947 or 1950, when per capita is already about 5,000 cubic meters per capita. Now, because of increased population, so now it is hardly, now we have come down to around 1,300 cubic meters. That means almost we are reaching the water scarce unless you take effective steps. So there will be water scarcity, and preserving glaciers is one of the intervention. If you preserve glaciers, the water scarcity also. So every year different teams will be there. But in one year, I think the slogans will be also there. I think World Water Day is not a celebration made by some government organizations. Every stakeholder, that means the public, must be also part of that one. So they must be also, awareness must be created among the public also, the stakeholders also there, how it's important. That's why slogans like every drop counts, save water for better future, water is life, protect and cherish it, all like slogans will be always there during the water, this World Water Day celebration. So this, I think the critical role of glaciers in sustaining life and water cycle, that is very highlighting the challenges. I think the challenge means melting, so fast melting of these glaciers also there. That is happening for last observation is there for last 35 days. There is fast glacier melting is there, that is leading to some challenges there. I think the theme centers on the importance of glaciers, mountain runoff, snow melt, which provide water for drinking, agriculture, energy production for nearly 2 billion people. Here, when we are talking about energy production in global, in sustainable development goals, also you must always think about the clean energy. The clean energy will be given by the ideal power. Ideal power is nothing but the dam production of power using water. That is very, very important. So UN has declared 2025 as the International Year of Glaciers. So theme is, of course, preservation of glaciers, but they declared that International Year of Glacier Preservation, emphasizing the urgency of this issue. So actually, the event today we are celebrating, but already the event that has taken place on 21st March at UN headquarters. The event will bring together global leaders to highlight the role of glaciers and climate systems and water for the joint celebration of the first World Day for Glaciers and World Water Day. A high-level event took place on 21st March 2025 in UNESCO headquarters, that is Paris, that has already happened. So this event will serve as a platform for dialogue and action regarding the state of world's glaciers and their impact on the global water security, communities, ecosystems, and global warming. You can also think about that, what will be the impact of global warming on glacier preservation. And a joint celebration, it is joint. I told you that not related to a core section, but is related to the entire stakeholders of public is more important. So, and actually it is organized to highlight the threat of glacier melt that is before us, and its impact on water security and community and ecosystem. Everybody thinks that water means is only taking care of people and also these organs and also ecosystem also there is some, but the rest of the lot of things are that is happening. Even environment sustainability also depends on the preservation of this water and preservation of the glaciers. So with the glaciers melting at record rates, this joint celebration underscores the importance of glaciers as water towers of the world for billions of people who rely on them. That means the towers are getting reducing their height because of their melting. That is very, very important. One must know. So actually, the event marks the launch of 2025 World Water Development Report theme that is high mountains and glaciers. The report emphasizes glaciers' role in sustaining water supply and maintaining ecosystem stability, offering data-driven insights to guide sustainable water management and adaptation of strategies and community world over. And further, the event will lay foundation for the decade of action for cryospheric sciences, that is 2025 to 2034, fostering international cooperation in scientific research and monitoring to address the impact of the cryosphere changes. Here, the entire world that is divided into three categories. One is developed countries, developing countries, and undeveloped countries. Of course, the developed countries always will have capacity to fund a lot for this to this goal, but they need to support the underdeveloped countries and developing countries also to support to achieve this goal number 6, and also preserving these glaciers also important. World leaders, policymakers, scientists, civil society, and advocacy groups came together to discuss the importance of glacier in the global water system, their impact on ecosystem, and rise in sea levels and human society. I think the sea level rise, even a rise of about 10 centimeters, lot of islands will get punched. That is the danger is very impending. Of course, mean sea level, almost sea level will be there. So we are all living at a high elevated level of about 400 meters, 500 meters. But there are a lot of islands are there very close to the mean sea level, that is zero level. The impending danger is, so the melting of these glaciers ultimately rise in sea level, and ultimately a lot of islands will disappear. The forum also discussed about the drive concentrated action to protect water supply and glaciers for future generations. So preserving that means the conserving water means the preserving glaciers is also important. So these are the 17 sustainable development goals, because allied gathering all know about that one. The only importance is about clean water and sanitation. That is very, very important. And climate change. Climate change will a lot of impact. Even in a rise in temperature more than 1.5 degrees also, that will create a lot of adverse problems. And water is one such element, that is five bhota, is one of the five bhota, panchbhutas, that is making this world survive. Of course, the background of this, all know that one. Earlier, we got a Millennium Development Goals, that is from 2000 to 2015. All goals that are important always to elevate the poverty and also make a people comfort level be there, and people, every citizen, either the rich people or average, that middle class people or below people, they need to have the access for this one. So their quality of education, their children quality of education must be improved, and quality of medicine, that health must also improve, because a lot of people, even though the earning capacity is more, but they are spending a lot of money on health. So if the quality of it, that is very, very important. So all these goals ultimately, so see that how to sustain the world and sustainable public, that is very, very important. So some goals, some of the targets and could not be achieved in Millennium Development Goals. They were reformed into this the Sustainable Development Goals to achieve those goals. 17 goals between it was commenced in 2015, and by 2030 it need to be achieved. Of course, so the COVID has given a lot of impact about 3-4 years. This one, so there's some progress. Whatever expected of what happened. Of course, I think it may under 2-3 years, but ultimately by 2030 we have to achieve all these goals. And as a lead, 170 countries are participating countries are there in United Nations. They are all 170 countries are expected to achieve this goal. Then only entire globe will be safe. And by 2030, we need to achieve. So by achieving this, we need to preserve these glaciers also. That is very important. Of course, I think going through this one, just only because presentation will be in a systematic form, I have taken all these things. So I leave this presentation to everybody. I will share it. It will be there available in our Institute of Engineers also there. I request the Institute of Engineers chairman and secretary also to post this in the group. I myself will also post it. Actually, this is very, very important. So the 17 goals are made into pyramid. So the first 10 goals, they are people oriented, and next 11 to 15 goals, they are ecological, and 16 and 17 is spiritual. Spiritual means peace. So there must be peace between countries. And also they should, for peace, we can say today the wars are happening between the Russia and other countries are there, and also these many. I think now there is, I think Iran and Iraq, USA also they're fighting for each other, they're threatening each other. So the peace is now, if peace is not there, so a lot of these the resources that is available, a lot of finance that will flow into the defense system rather than that need to go for the welfare of people. So achieving goals is very important. All these goals are interdependent. If any progress of one goal, that will be contribute to the other thing. For example, goal number 6 is achieved, that will have impact on no poverty, zero hunger, and also the that is good. You can say quality education, quality health, and also the gender equity. All these things reflection will be there. So it is everybody's duty to see that these goals are achieved. Let us be also part of every citizen of this world, not only country, globally, they must be part of this one. So now we discuss a few slides about the goal. So the purpose of this goal is ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation. That is very, very important. That's why Swachh Bharat is very important. So not only for water availability, but also sanitation. So that's why the good number of toilets were constructed under this program. So because still even then, so the feedback is there, even about 10-15% of this, the Indians also still not using the toilets. They are going for a open defecation. That is very dangerous, because a few people enjoy for open defecation. Ultimately, so when rain season comes, so only the defecated that material will ultimately go into the flowing rivers, and flowing rivers of our dependency of our water, ultimately the bacteria and everything will be there. So water and sanitation are both are equally important. So to achieve the goal is not only providing potable water, but also see that proper sanitation is so facilitated to each and every citizen. So this is about goal number 16. One of the 17 goals are there. I think by 2030 we need to achieve it. And some of the facts are there. By 2030, achieve access to adequate and equitable sanitation and hygiene for all, and end open defecation. That is very, very important. That means we have to advocate the public that open defecation is very dangerous, not only for them, for the entire community. That is very, very important. And also the potable availability of potable drinking water, that is a social reform. People cannot now everybody, it has become a fashion that everybody taking a mineral water bottle in his hand and showing as if he is highly, actually is very civilized person. That is not the thing else. Actually, rather than potable water means pure water that will not harm the person. That is very, very important. That is the welfare responsibility of the country, of this one else. And actually between 2000 by 2017, actually all these globes were tracking it about by fixing some targets and also there. So 2017 thought that it was revealed that every year that SDG report will be published by UN. So 785 million people around the world still they are lacking basic drinking water facility. That is very, very important. During 2000 to 2015, percentage of global population using safely managed drinking water is only 61 to 71%. That is the rest 30%. They need to be covered under this sustainable development goals. So these are all important things. But actually, so there are 8 targets for about this goal number 6, and with 11 indicators. Why the indicators means every year where we stand, we need to be have a survey must be there. So that's why they have fixed about 8 targets and 11 indicators. Every year we can track that indicator. The feedback will be taken at what stage we are there. That means by 20, all of a sudden after 15 years, we cannot wake up and see whether we have achieved it or not. We have to track this one. For that purpose, 8 targets and 11 indicators are there. And of course, some of the indicators need to be achieved by 2020 itself, because of the COVID, they could not be done it, but some progress will be there. And the first 3 targets are related to drinking water supply and sanitation. 6 out of 10 people are lacking safely managed sanitation services, and 3 out of 10 people are also having requiring better water services are there. These are all important about things. So what I would like to tell you is the celebration of World Water Day is nothing but achieving the goal number. Progress towards achieving the sustainable goal number 6, that is important, which is meant for drinking water and sanitation. That is important. So Mahatma Gandhiji, actually, many of you not know that on the day of independence, he spent his time in a urban slum area. So that means he knows that the sanitation is more important than independence. That means all slums need to be removed. Of course, a lot of programs are urban regeneration programs are happening there. So even the poor people, they got a right. So right for clean water and sanitation and good living is also there. He made cleanliness and sanitation an integral part of Gandhian way of life. You can see that one also. That's why this Swachh Bharat, actually the government of India has also said that if you achieve that, almost the desire, the dreams of Mahatma Gandhi is being achieved. His mission is total sanitation. That way of searching is, so water, world water not only is meant for drinking water, it is also meant for sanitation also. This is a global freshwater withdrawal, you can see. So where how entire world is using it. In European countries and the North America, they are using water mostly for industrialization, whereas South Asian countries are using water, 80% of water, the green patches are there that they are using for irrigation. Of course, I think time is very short. I am making available this, I will post this in the group also. And I told you that equally important is global goal number 13. Everybody talking about global warming. So that is climate change. So climate change is already initiated. So one of the impact will be the melting of ice. You can see the backdrop of the picture, that is the ice is getting melted. So the melting is, the fast melting is there. We need to protect that for long sustainable development. The meaning of sustainable goal means whatever resources are there, don't consume. You have to keep something for the future generation. The same thing is upkeeping these glaciers are also meant for the future generation. That is very, very important. Of course, the climate action means take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact by regulating emissions. Of course, the climate change is happening because of carbon emissions are there. If carbon emissions are that is happening because of that can be controlled by renewable energy. That's why a lot of everybody now, the government of Telangana, India is also going for a solar power system. So that through which the carbon emissions can be contained. So presently the entire globe, so our energy requirements are happening mostly by 60 to 70% of thermal power. So the thermal power, the coal is also getting exhausted. That is also emitting a lot of carbon. That is adding this climate action or carbon emissions are there. Ultimately, the thing is we cannot zero down carbon global temperature rise, but at least we must keep that 1.5 degree temperature rise only by 2030. That's very important. That can happen by protecting these global emission. That is the glacier. The preservation also keep the temperature also under control. A lot of things are happening. This is also another thing is going for. So what the United Nations Sustainable Goal is, now presently 60-70% of this energy produced by thermal power, that they need to be kept out 30% and fill that gap with this quality power. Quality power to this idle power is one of the important quality power. And the important thing is wind power, solar power, all the power we have to, so that we can control the emissions. I think so. Another climatic change adaptation. Actually, many of not know that earlier the central ministry, the forest department ministry is there. Now they made it as a the Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change Adaptation. That is important. That is being given. So limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees is necessary to avoid catastrophic consequences and irreversible changes are there. That is very, very important ultimately. So we see that the temperature cannot hold the temperature rise by 1.5 degrees. Of course, it is impossible to keep down to 0 degree rise. So at least the upper limit is that one. So these are some of the international interventions that are happening. Do not think that all the 170 countries, they are meeting every year at one point of time. They are checking, and every year's UN report is also where we stand, where we are lagging behind. All these things are happening. There are some of the interventions. So that is happening. United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. That body is there. Initially, it met 1994. The new that is a near universal membership of there. So everybody is a part of that one. Climate change changes on glaciers. That is very now. Actually, our theme is there. Global warming is long-term rise and average temperature on Earth. That is the major aspect of climate change, has been demonstrated by direct temperature measurements and by measurements of various effects of the warming. So global warming and climate change are often used interchangeably. I think the impact of climate change is rising temperature also leads to the global glacier melting. And but more accurately, global warming is mainly human-caused increase. I think what I am saying is not only global warming of carbon emissions, but human habitations are also are responsible for this global warming. So more emissions of this carbon and fire accident. I think the fire accidents of the this one forest fires and all those things. Some of the only people are responsible for that fire accidents and disasters are also there. There are two kinds of disasters. One is natural disaster, other is man-made disaster. So these fire accidents and all those things, emitting carbon is a so man-made disaster, that is also very, very important. So that is very, I think what we would like to tell is there is impact on glaciers of the impact of climate change is there. That's the important thing. So why glaciers are important? Their impact. Ice acts like a protective cover on Earth and our oceans. I think even now, in summer, we are feeling a temperature of 40 degrees plus. Of course, in Himalayan areas, it will be about 35 degrees also there. So actually, why the difference of temperature in South India and North India is there? The glacier cover, that is snow cover, is there in North India, that is keeping the temperature low, down than compared to this one else. So that means that it is almost covering the entire Earth, almost the Earth. Of course, some of the area will be sea will be there. That will also seawater will also control it. So coverage of these glaciers, the ice coverage of Earth is very, very important. That is one of the things that we need to preserve it. These bright white spots reflect heat back into the space and keep the planet cooler. Arctic, that is the major this snow area, snow zone, remains colder than the equator. We are all in the India is in the equator because of more of the heat from the sun reflected of the ice back into the space. Area on Earth is covered with glacial ice, almost 90% in Antarctica. Please, I think some of the participants, please mute yourself. So don't other participants, please. We have to self-mute. While the remaining 10% is Greenland ice. I told you Greenland ice is how important now. Denmark and the US are trying to keep in there. The control is also that is important. That is access to the Antarctica. That is one of the Antarctica is there. Then glaciers melt because the water is stored on land, and the runoff significantly increases the amount of water in the sea and contributes to global sea rise. That is important. Not only rising sea, but some quantum of solid form of water is getting flown into the sea. That means we could not able to see. I can also say that glacier nothing but a bank deposit. So we got a deposit whenever we want. We draw some money from the bank. Similarly, glaciers also using like a deposit to use it in the summer seasons. That is important. That is so important of that one. So why glaciers are melting? So many glaciers around the world have been rapidly melting. Human activities are at the root of this phenomenon. I told you that upon climatic change, the human habitations are also causing of this melting. Because habitation activities also that makes the glaciers melt. So now I think now we are already telling that forest encroachments are there, like the glacier encroachments are there by human activities. Especially since industrial revolution, carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases emission have raised the temperature even higher in the poles, and as a result, glaciers are rapidly melting. That's one of the reason of that one. So calving into the sea, so and retreating on the land, and I think this is also cycle. So when melting is on one side, again other side mountains, so they will snowfall will be, that is snow cover will be there. Industries that thrive, a vibrant fisheries will be affected. So by snow melting, the effect of the fisheries affect aquatic. Now everybody thinks that only human got a right to avail all these natural resources, but lot of biosphere, biodiversity, lot of living animals, birds, and also living organisms, they got a right on par with human being to enjoy the nature resources of nature. Some of the renewable, some of the exhaustible resources are there. They are meant for everybody, not only for human beings. That is very, very important. As sea ice melts, wildlife like walrus are losing their home, and polar bears are spending more time on land, causing higher rate of conflict between people and bears. In case entire glacier in its volume melt, global sea level would rise approximately 70 meters, that is 230 feet. Of course, with reference to that zero means sea level is zero. So that we could, because we are at a higher altitude of 300, 400, 500 meters, we are not feeling it. But a lot of islands are there very close to the mean sea level. So they will get affected, flooding, and they make flooding of east every coastal city, and some lot of even like Visakhapatnam also will get affected, like a lot of Visakhapatnam, Chennai, all these cities will be get affected. That's why one of the goal is sustainable habitations. That means even disasters comes. So glacier melting is also disaster, natural disaster. Take care of it. So some of the pictures, if you avoid this one, is you can see how beautifully that glaciers are there. So and there is a confusion between the sea ice and glaciers. I think we can see ice on the sea also. The difference between glacier and sea ice is when glaciers melt, they flow as rivers and ultimately join sea, and sea water rise will be sea water level will be rise. But whereas sea ice, when it melts, it is stationary. One best example is you keep ice in a glass of water. So even when ice melts, also the water level does not rise. Thus, that is the difference between the glacier and sea ice. Of course, some of the seas will have a sheet of sea ice. You can see in some of the videos and audio the videos where people are playing on the sea during the winter season. That means a lot of sheet of ice is there. Of course, that is not dangerous, but glacier melting is more dangerous. So climate change and mountain glaciers. So world over, most of glaciers are sinking and disappearing. That is, the record is there for last 20 so many years. The data based on the preliminary data through 2022-23, the climate reference glaciers tracked by the World Glacier Monitoring Service have lost the volume of ice equivalent to nearly 26 meters of liquid water. That the water is spread across entire on the land. That height of that water that due to the effect of melting is 26 meters. The same is slicing into 28.6 meters of ice of the top of each glacier. That is, I think we could not able to find the impact of that one. That is so the coming days, the melting of glaciers will have a lot of natural disaster. Melting glaciers and ice sheets are the biggest cause of sea level rise. I told you that sea level rise will have its impact of in the recent decades. So it is sort of for last observation for last 36 years. The glaciers are continuously melting, very fastly melting. There is a danger. That's why today this year team they made that glaciers preservation of glaciers. The glaciers loss is a serious threat to nature and human water supply in many parts of the country. I told you that 2 billion people are depending on glacier water, and 20% of global requirement is taken care by the glaciers. And so you can see these all this one else. The thick sheet of ice advanced and beat it across most continents several times before withdrawing to the polar regions about 10,000 years ago. That glaciers got a history. I think we are always talking about epics. So the glacier history is much beyond the epics. Also, we can even Ramayana and Mahabharata. Also, we can see the Himalayas and glaciers also, and Pandavas, and then they have gone to this. Ajnatavasa, Aranyavasa also they part of that one also they touched with the glaciers of Himalayas and all those things. That is got a long history. So we need to preserve that mountain glaciers of having such much history. Continent scale high sheets still cover the Greenland and Antarctica. They are the major area is there. I think I told that today the buzzword is that the fight between Denmark and US to have that control over Greenland. So Greenland is very close to Antarctica. They think that there's a way forward, that is access will be there, a lot of minerals will be there in Antarctica. That is the importance of this one. I think glacier melting also we need to see in that perspective that ultimately globally there will be a lot of rift between countries also. See the cycle of the glacier cycle is there. On one side you can see the melting of the ice, and on the other side. On the other side, actually, sea rise, actually, ultimately, the sea ice also adding ice to the mountains. These are a lot of text and literature will also there. Please go through, I will make it available there. So, impact of climate change on glacier water. So, the all important thing is surface temperature increases are greatest in Arctic. Arctic and Antarctic, both are the glacier zones are there, which have contributed to the only Antarctica that relates to Greenland, but Arctic also there. And the retreat of glaciers and permafrost ice will be there. And ultimately, they say that overall, if higher temperature brings more rain and snowfall, but for some regions, drought will be getting. I think some of the regions of the close to equator, they reel under drought. That is the impact of that one there. Wildfires actually there when temperature rises, there almost fires will be there. And you know about that global effects of global warming and including rising sea levels, regional changes will be there. And frequent occurrence of extreme weather. Extreme weather is heavy rains and also less rains, also extreme weather. So the heat waves will be there, expansion of deserts will be there. When heat waves are there, automatically it leads to the glacier melting will be there. And the area of desertation, deserts will be, that will, is because when the groundwater level depletes and also there are no rains are there, automatically the area of deserts also will increase. That means, so this is a indirect effect of global warming, that is melting of glaciers is also there. surface temperature increases are greatest in the Arctic, which have contributed to the retreat of glaciers performance. Sea ice will be there. Actually, the rise in sea level due to climatic change is prone to intrusion of saline water. That is another important thing, is not only submersion of land. So if the sea level rises, automatically sea water will intrude into the land. So best thing is, when I worked in these fishes in Vijayawada, so actually there was the crisis, that droughts are there. So a lot of our fertile delta land, so that when we tested the sample, a lot of saline water was there. The saline water is not only impact the drinking water, but also the productivity of agriculture also it will impact. That means the melting of glaciers also impact. See that will also causes intrusion of saline land into land. There is much devastation will be there. Saline land will be there. The rise in temperature enhances evaporation losses in the water bodies, especially during the Rabi season, affecting the increased crop water demand and critical drinking water. This is all happening in the soil also. So what are the measures? So some of the scientists say that have a chemical cover over this glacier surface. I think that the chemical cover may not be permanent, but at least for some time it will retain the glaciers intact. That is very one of the important thing. So that is, glaciers and post ecosystem play a major role in the mitigating this one, both through radiation reflection and carbon. I think fastly the melting glaciers that lead to reflection of carbon sequences will be there. Radiation effect will be there. Moreover, they are essential for coping with the climate change. By reducing its harmful impacts on freshwater availability, sea levels, and biodiversity. That means preserving glaciers, so it will reduce the harmful impacts on freshwater and also control the sea level and biodiversity also. Less than 50% of glacier surface is located in protected areas, so we need to have taken care. Firstly, citizens mobilization, political action can help curb climate change, limit the loss of earth ice masses. At the same time, development of protected areas in these glacial zones involving local populations will help preserve these ecosystems and limit anthropogenic. That means the celebration of this World Water Day is not restricted to some our state centers and local centers and organizations. So it is mostly, the message must be taken to the common man. Awareness will be created. They must be made a part of that one. When public and stakeholders are made part of it, the impact of the positive results and success will be more. So that is very important, that we must tell to public that how impact the glaciers. Unless we preserve glaciers, that will impact not only the all classes of society, eco and earth, and also we always think about green earth. Green earth will now also slowly disappear if glaciers start melting. So these all another thing. A citizen initiative in Switzerland called glacier protection in 2023. I think every country is doing it their best. So India is mostly, I think we are mostly taking care of the Swachh Bharat. Now in North India, we have to take care of glacier protection is very important. French government is taking some impediment, some measures. I think all 170 countries, participating countries of sustainable development, they must take action. But here the thing is, underdeveloped and developing countries, they need the financial support from the developed country. That is important. So the developed countries must come forward, because ultimately, so they are making a lot of marketing, the business with the underdeveloped and developing countries. So if the spending capacity or buying capacity is reduced, both developed countries also will have impact on that one. So they need to support, whether it's directly benefiting them or not. Environment and glacier protection laws are very important. Apart from laws, also implementation is very important. That is very important. So these are some of the interventions that is happening there. So continuous melt from glaciers contribute water to the ecosystem. Ultimately, so protection of glaciers, preservation of glaciers is very important. Again, I am repeating that it is taking care of 2 billion people. 20% of the water requirement is taken care of, and it will adversely affect the climate change. So and earth cover is getting lost. And also you started, there are all glaciers are water towers are there. When towers are getting diminished, ultimately it will become flat. The whole globe will become also flat in the negative sense also there. So conclusions, these are some of the conclusions I would like to give. So I already discussed about that, how glaciers are taking care of it, and sustainable development. Really, preservation of glacier development is nothing but sustainable development goals. So that what I told you, that whatever resources are there, this present generation, we are not consume it. We have to preserve something for the future. So preservation of glaciers is also a sustainable development for future of this globe and future of the global citizens also there. That's why the United Nations have declared 2025 the International Year of Glaciers Preservation, emphasizing the urgency of this issue. To preserve glaciers, the primary focus must be on reducing the greenhouse gas emission. So that means achieving goal number 6 and goal number 13 is very, very important to mitigate climate change and global warming. That is very, very important. So instead of preaching, so let us not be silent listeners or forgetting everything after the event. The event is over. Let us carry the purpose of this event. Let us all be part of global preservation by creating awareness among the people, positive effect sustaining glaciers for meet water needs, protecting environment, ecology, biodiversity, benefit, achieve UN sustainable. That way you can achieve that goal number 6. And also water and sanitation. That is a wash is the important word. That is water and sanitation and hygiene. That is important. That is nothing but indirectly the global sustainable global goal number 6. That is very, very important. So this is all glaciers preservation. Of course, it may be a dry subject, but what best is possible, I could able to collect the information and put before you. And we are sharing this one. I may not presented entire A to Z of this whatever presentation is there. It will be circulated, because all my presentations, any presentation will be, I am the first man to be transparent and post in the groups also. I will try to post this one else. And so again, so glaciers save life on Earth, biodiversity, and support sustainable water resources, environment, ecology system to achieve UN sustainable goal number 6, and also the contain that global warming is there. So that is the importance of this year World Water Day. The theme is so preservation of glaciers. We have discussed a lot of things about this one. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. Thank you one and all. So now it is platform is open for any discussions.
Good evening to all of you. I'm Dr. Mohammad Hussain, sir. I really congratulate Dr. A.S.N. Raju Garu for his exhaustive coverage of the topic. But I have one question. So what is the specific action plans for individuals and also for community to preserve these glaciers?
So specific action plan, I would like to tell you that sustainable goal number to achieve sustainable goal number 6 and 13. So 6 is already interventions have taken place by Swachh Bharat and all those things. And global warming also, the intervention is reduce the thermal power and go in for a quality power through this one hydel power, and also increasing. Of course, the actions are being taken by solar power and other interventions are there. But one important thing is, so though the targets are fixed by 2030, the COVID has impacted about 3-4 years. That has impacted the progress could not be done. But ultimately, so instead of 2030, we may be achieving about 90% of this one else. So every individual means, I told you that this Swachh Bharat, so millions of this one toilets are constructed. The people still there is a feedback is there 15% public are not using it. So that is they see that is done. Another important thing is avoid habitations close to the glaciers. That is very important. Mostly it will happen. Actually, one of the reasons for melting of these glaciers is human habitations. That is also the so you need to have that. Switzerland, other countries, France, they have enacted some laws for the glacier preservation. So other countries also have that laws, and it must be implemented. And also ensuring that implementation is also important. And a stakeholder, every stakeholder, that means about 80 billion people across the world, every citizen of the global citizen got a role to play, and they should not always look to somebody that somebody will do it. They must be a part of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. A.S.N. Raju, sir. So you have given an excellent
I circulate this presentation to everybody. No, sir, thank you very much. So nice of you. Thank you all for patient listening.
Thank you very much, sir. A.S.N. Raju, sir. Today you have given an excellent lecture on the eve of World Water Day. You have started with the history of World Water Day. Sir, you have started with the history of World Water Day, sir. Then you said how these glaciers are very important, how they are going to change the climate, how global warming effect is there, what is the effect of global warming on the glaciers. And very rightly, we have aligned our theme with the SDGs. particularly with the number 6 and 13. And finally, you have given very valuable message, sir. You requested all the participants not to become muted participants, but become an active person to implement these things to save the or to preserve the glaciers. So as you rightly said, these glaciers will be protected by reducing the global warming. And this global warming is caused mainly because of the greenhouse gases. So everybody is contributing these greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. So Mohammed sir asked, sir, how everybody will work or act towards this one? That is very simple, sir. You see that the global temperature is not going to increase. For that purpose, we have to use the non-conventional energy sources. That is the renewable energy sources is one. And second one is reduce the unnecessary production and use of the energy. Whenever you are using this energy and producing the energy, always some amount of energy is wasted, which is going to increase the global temperature. That is starting from the energy consumption in the house or vehicle usage. Whenever you are using these IC engines, the fossil fuels are always giving the greenhouse gases and increasing the global temperature, and finally leads to the melting of the glaciers. So with this, sir has given, Ayasendra sir given very, very valuable message, which is required for the future. So thank you, sir. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thanks for you, sir, Ayasendra sir. So now I request Dr. K. Sitaram Babu, Honorary Secretary, to propose vote of thanks.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. It's a wonderful presentation made by our past chairman and the present council member for civil discipline at the national level, sir, on the topic glacier preservation. Sir, I also acknowledge 3 more August gathering participants in this event. Ramareddy Garu, immediate past chairman, Telangana State Center, Mandwa Rajeshwar Rao Garu and Bhaskar Rao Garu. I thank the chairman of the Institute of Engineers India, Telangana State Center, Dr. G. Venkat Subbaya Garu, and the committee member, convener of the event, Engineer G. Varun Kumar Garu, for having made this event a grand success, sir. I also thank the all the participants, the fellow engineers, the corporate members, and the immediate past chairman, Ramareddy Garu, and past chairman and the keynote speaker, plus the council member, Ayasendra Garu, for having made this event added flavor and value to this event, sir. And with this, thanking one and all, I appreciate everybody to please stand for the national anthem, and then we'll disperse, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय भारत भाग्य पंजाब सिंध द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे ध्रुव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Jai Hind. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very nice program.